Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be starting a new a podcast about reptiles. Today we're going to be talking about ball pythons. I'm going to be talking about 4 main subjects, including enclosure, care, food, and difficulty. Okay, care is just is like you want to make sure they're getting the right heat, like I showed you. You want to keep it from anywhere around, like on the hot side, you want their heating rock. You want their rock to be around like 90 to 95 degrees, and then the cooler side, you want to be like in the 80s to keep him happy and warm. And then also, you just want to make sure, if you want him to stay tame, you just want to make sure you get him out every now and then to make sure he doesn't end up getting a little bit mean. Because if you don't get him out a lot, he'll start to get used to just staying in his enclosure and stuff. So, and another thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you have a nice substrate. Like, I just use like some Zoom and stuff you can find, because sometimes people use paper towels. That's just not as good for them. And so that's a lot of the main things you want to think of. And then also, you'll want to get a thermostat like this. This thermostat is very nice just because you can set what you want to heat to and it'll tell you what it's at. And you just want to make sure that you want to check on them every day and just make sure everything's going right and that he doesn't get hurt. And then one last care idea is sometimes people won't think about like shedding. They'll think they'll just get it off on their own. But sometimes there isn't the right humidity in the enclosure. So they'll get this thing called stuck shed. That will just basically it's like a shed. Like, because when they're shedding, sometimes it'll tear. So then you just have to give them a bath that's around 85 degrees and just kind of let them soak in there a little bit. And then you want to bring them out and just slightly kind of help them get it started. And then usually it'll be able to come off quite easily if you kind of rub them with a towel. And yeah, first of all, with the enclosure, a minimum size I'd say would be 40 gallons, but if you can, I'd go more. For now, I just have my ball python in this 40-gallon enclosure here. It's pretty good. Maybe I'll try upgrading sometime. And then bigger, better, if you can get that. And then also with your enclosure, you just want one warm hide. As you can see there, I just have a little bit of a Tupperware there, and then a cold hide, which you can make a little bit bigger, which I have right there. Then a water bowl and heat rock with a heat lamp on top. And then I have a heat pad on the bottom. And you can make it as realistic as you want, but I just decided to keep it simple. Oh, there he just yawned. I don't know if I was able to get that. But yeah, and then you can add I'd do fake plants, or else he'll just destroy all of the real plants. And then you can add any logs because they're semi-arboreal. They'll mostly stay on the ground in their hide. But sometimes at night, since they're nocturnal, they'll climb on some of the branches, and I'll see him climbing on his hide. And then one last thing is you want to make sure you have either a humidifier or some way of keeping it a low, like humid around like 60% or so. I keep mine at 55 to 60% on 2 mist. I'm using this little Draco humidifier, and that's like a easy setup for a ball python. So for the food, you'll mainly be feeding them like mice and rats, and there's a couple different ways you can feed them. So you can either give them a live mouse or rat, or you can give them a dead one, depending what they like. I have to give Sushi a live one because he doesn't really like the dead ones. And there's a couple different ways people like to feed their snakes, and I'm still trying to figure out which one I like the best. I started out by hanging the tail just from up here, because there's this little feeding hatch right here. So that used to work, but as the rats get bigger, the rats will like to swing up and grab onto your arms. So that can be a little dangerous with Sushi trying to eat the rat while it's on you. Then also it's just not as good of enrichment. So you want to usually, so then I started just dropping the rats into it to make it more enriching, but then sometimes the rats would find a hiding place in the tide and make a little burrow in the dirt, so then Sushi wasn't able to find the rat. So, and then one other you can do is you can get like one of those like bigger bins, like one of those bins like right there, or like one of those black bins right down there, that you can just put your snake in and then the rat in. So then it's just them two, and then the snake will usually eat it. And then also, but then if you're feeding dead, what you usually want to do is you can hang it by the tail, but sometimes that won't work. But you can get like some tongs and grab the rat and like kind of make it look like it's running around kind of. So then the snake will think it's real, and then they'll usually take it. But that's the main feeding. Some people say it's not good to drop the rats into the, like, just on the soil, because they think it's bad for the snakes to eat some of the dirt. But in the wild, they'd be eating some of the dirt anyways, and if they eat a little dirt, it's not gonna kill them. So I think it's okay. So that's mainly all I have for feeding. The last category I believe was like difficulty, or like who should be owning ball pythons. In my opinion, I feel like ball pythons are more of a beginner reptile, at least a beginner snake. Probably ball pythons, corn snakes, and stuff like those are a lot easier to keep than like a burm or like a reticulated python, just because of those are so big. For a beginner reptile, ball pythons are pretty good, but I think a lizard or something, or a gecko, could maybe be easier, just because they are eating the, like, if you were to get a Uromastic, if you don't know what those are, they're kind of like a chuckwalla, which is kind of like a bearded dragon. They kind of have these like pokey tails, and they can be really pretty, and those only eat veggies, so those are very easy to take care of. But yeah, for a beginner, for a snake, I'd say a ball python is a pretty beginner animal. You just have to do all your research up on them, so you know exactly what to do for them. And if you're a little bit younger like me, you need to make sure that to commit to the reptile, because you can't just have your parents take care of them, because it's your reptile. So you need to make sure you're committed for the 25 years that they can live in captivity. Oh, one last category I kind of forgot to add in with my intro was that was size. Ball pythons, this is a male. Sushi is a male, so he'll range from 3.5 feet to 6 feet, and the females will usually range from 4 to 6 feet. And a 6-foot ball python is a big ball python, but it does happen every now and then. And also their weight, I'm actually not exactly sure, but I know like they'll range from like 3 to 5 pounds, or like 6, 7 pounds, I don't know. Somewhere around there. Females will usually get a little bigger than males. And also, if you were to breed them, you'd maybe want to get a little bit bigger of an enclosure. But yeah, so I'll see you on the next one with a new reptile. Please like and subscribe for more.